Pog. Hello and welcome to episode 13 of the Livewire Game Show. We've got our full trio this week, so we're on a roll again.
I'm back.
And this week, he's back again. Did you leave last week? I don't think so.
Yeah, I was here last week.
Yeah, you're here last week. We're on a roll. Anyway, this week we are going to just have a nice little chat about the games that we're currently playing at the moment. We usually do it as our intro, but we thought we'd go more in-depth and give preview, review, whatever you want to call it, of some of the games we're playing. There was also a bucket ton of news this week, so we are going to cover all of that news. And I also forgot to actually add in the Returnal stuff, so we can chat about that as well, because that's looking spicy. Anyway,
corner is turning into a full extension now at this stage.
Right,
conservatory and everything.
That's what the garage is for. It's for the backlog of shame. Anyway,
gonna need a bigger garage.
Gonna need the bigger garage. Gonna need another Timmy. If anyone knows that reference, I'll give you a free gifted sub to the streamer of your choice. Gonna need another.
Never be your choice, though.
What, Stephen?
Let that be us.
Anyway, how are you guys this week? How are you, Stephen? I know you've had a rough day.
Apart from looking like you went through a fucking 5 rounds with Mike.
If anyone can see, my left eye is pretty swollen looking. Hay fever has decided to come back.
Basically, Stephen decided to be Irish today
and sniff a flower.
Stephen has an STD allergy to pollen, so flowers having sex makes me get all puffy.
So no more photosynthesizer besides Stephen.
No.
Stephen's nickname's Puffy the Daffodil Slayer.
That's Dr.
The new Dark Souls boss.
Dr. Puffy the Dark Souls.
Addressing by my proper title, you little bollocks.
Alright, Len, calm down. See, I get references.
I understood that reference.
I did.
But the first 3 hours of my morning today were spent under a pillow in my bed, trying not to scratch my eye. But yeah, then other than that, then this week we have Deirdre's mom's 70th, so planning things to do. There's a Zoom video going on and dinner being brought over to them and lots of different stuff. So busy planning what we're doing with that.
Spoiler alert for your 70th, Deirdre's mom.
Yeah, as if she listens to this.
And we have her in the waiting room here to come in.
Special guest appearance, Deirdre's mom.
Hello, Stephen.
Come on down.
So this week, it's been just busy with lots of extra things. I'll tell you about my game and stuff later on. Adulting, basically. Fucking hate it.
I've just been making Super League memes all week.
Oh, that was, as someone who doesn't like football, that has been the funniest shit.
Yeah, it's been great.
We have an idea. Oh shit, no, we take it back.
I mean, we could do a fucking whole podcast just on that from our point of view, but it was funny.
The funniest thing though was today I saw some girl on Twitter, Jess Davis, I think it is. She said, if only men got as outraged about violence against women as he did ESL. It's like, I don't think men get outraged about anything other than
the way they got.
I've never seen it.
But I thought Patrick Bamford, that plays for Leeds, he was spot on. He basically said the same thing, Stephen. He was kind of like, it's amazing how outraged people got when people's pockets were getting hurt. Like, if only they got that outraged against real problems, not how many billions or millions someone's taking home at the end of the year. It was crazy.
Yeah. But that's exactly it. It's once money starts getting affected, that's when, and especially for such a mass, there is no bigger sport in the world. There's no bigger kind of collective apart from a religion, in the world, personally.
I wouldn't even think religion's as big as football anymore.
But to have that mass outrage,
it basically is a religion in its own way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But something that literally is Like no matter what language you speak or no matter what kind of part of the world you come from, it's something that you're aware of. Yeah,
it's universal. But
we're not going to speak about the ESL.
No, because then we could start arguments here. Because I know I'd have an opinion and you'd have an opinion, and Stephen would just be like, "I'm a doctor. I know what the real opinion is. My opinions are facts." But I think like just before we move on from it quickly, like I agreed with taking power away from where the power currently lies, but I didn't agree with the 15 wealthiest clubs in the world taking all the power for themselves. Yeah. So I thought. While I didn't agree with the proposal, and it's a pity that the proposal was as fucking crap as it was.
Yes.
It was something that could have benefited the game, but it was a non-starter in that format, unfortunately. And it's never going to happen now. It's fucked now, like it's done.
Completely. Yeah. It's always going to be tainted with that launch. Yeah. Well,
100%.
That announcement. Yeah. But like, it would have been great to have those high-key matches once a month, once every couple of weeks. But obviously not in the format that they were announced now.
But the one thing that's really bugged me about it is this rhetoric over the last 2 or 3 days is the good guys won. That's really been bugging me because the good guys did not win. Fans all over the world are still getting shafted by €70 ticket prices, €90 jerseys, €70 a month to watch it on Sky Sports. Like... The common man, working man, the common working man and woman and child has still been forced out of football. So the good guys did not win. The less bad guys won, but the good guys did not win. Anyway, sorry. We're done.
Swiftly moving on.
Swiftly moving back to games. Back to our regular broadcasting that you don't have to pay for, like Sky Sports.
For now.
When are we bringing out our OnlyFans?
I've already been starting that. What are you about?
I've been doing only feet. How's that? Look, we started just only feet.
Don't give it away for free.
Yeah. No, you give them a hint. That's just one. The first one's free. It's like a drug. Come on, Stevens. Basic fingerless knowledge.
Nobody buys runners singly.
We're all from the north side of Dublin. Like this is what we were brought up with. The first one's free. Bait them in. It's like Destiny with microtransactions.
How was your week? Moving on from feet and fucking ESL. What have you been doing this week?
I mean, Squirtle and Charmander like my feet. By the way, before we do that, do you want to see the chunkiest Pikachu? This is like 1998.
I was just about to say.
Like,
you just see the ears prodding out.
Chunky that Pikachu is.
Jesus.
Lockdown so Pikachu. That's just the way it came.
No, but that's like it's the same. It's Build-A-Bear, isn't it?
Build-A-Bear, yeah.
So they just really keep them in the same line of size.
Do you know what? I reckon they had like 2021 our Sword and Shield Pikachu and Pokemon Red and Blue Pikachu, and they just went, "I'm gonna go with this one." Anyway, my week it's been all right. Last week was busy with the building work at the back, and that kind of finished up this week. Happy with the outcome. It's not really gaming related, so I'll move on from it. But not happy with how that turned out. It's nice having a back garden that I'm not ashamed to look at. And once everything else, like we'd have to tidy it up and do some small things, but there'd be barbecues fairly shortly, hopefully.
Nice.
Barbecue for one. How cool. Gaming, I would get back into in the main topic what I've been playing. It's been Guardian game started, and I've been playing something else on the PS5, which I finally took a trip to Boletaria. Most people don't know where Boletaria is, so it's okay. I haven't given anything away.
Is that the last place in The Last of Us 2?
Possibly. Couldn't tell you. But yeah, no, gaming, been fine. Other than that, yeah, that's really it, to be honest with you.
Nice.
My week's been fine otherwise. I had a day off Monday, which was nice. I just relaxed and chilled and played some games and then watched the wrestling on Monday night, which was terrible, but I still watched it. Yeah.
Cool.
Look,
how's your week feel?
Yeah, my week just revolves around playing games at the moment. So I can't really talk about it until we get to the main topic.
Well, here's what we do, right? If your week was fine, Dill, Actually, I do have news. My dad got his first 5G vaccination. I knew there was something this week.
Nice.
I knew there was something.
The signal today.
The signal. It was great. Like, we had no webcam issues today because my dad was in the house.
Just pure, unfiltered radiation.
He's now gone down to Super Value to smash up a few shelves.
Just to get it out of the system.
Yeah.
Like I just been playing games all week. I was reading quite a bit, actually. I finished this today. My Kylo Ren prequel kind of thing.
You can clearly see it hasn't moved, so it hasn't been started yet.
Yeah, I've been reading actually a lot this week. Other than that, just my usual playing games. Playing my rotation of.
I'm really jealous of
Apex
your
and
how much time you get to play games at the moment.
It's great and terrible at the same time because every day is the same now. Like it's just the whole. I know we have all been in lockdown for the last year, but kind of my job being on kind of hiatus has a bit. Yeah,
that's the one thing. It's like every day I wake up and I go, I'd love Dill's life, and then I go to my desk and like, I don't know if I could deal with the not having the job or not knowing what's going on.
Structure it's all about structure.
It's so hard. Like I'd love it, but I know it must be difficult.
Like I appreciate it on days off, like when I'm working and stuff like that, because like I remember like if I get in from a trip at like 5 o'clock in the morning and I'll sleep till like 11 or 12, and I know for that whole day I'm just gonna play games. Like it's just that's what I'm doing to chill out. But yeah,
I think if my manager told me, look, Kev, you never have to do any work again. We'll pay you your wages as normal, 100% of them, but you can just never work. I'd be totally happy with that. But it'd be the reduced wages part that'd really be scary.
Who wouldn't be happy with that? Come on.
Yeah, but like,
ideal situation.
Still, some people like working. I fucking hate working. But it has to be done, because if you don't work, I don't have a PC, I don't have a fucking all this, I don't have all this. You have to work. That's just life.
No, I am kind of grateful for it, because it did come at a time where I was kind of on the fence about whether I wanted to continue, and Kev knows that. Like, it was at the point where I needed to kind of make a decision on what I wanted to do. So it's like it gave me a bit of perspective over the last year. But then at the same time, it's been a long year. But it's been great, like in the gaming side of it, in terms of being able to branch out and try different kind of titles. Like, I never would have thought this time last year that I'd be sitting here playing WoW for like 5 to 8 hours a day. Like, it's
WoW
great.
And 5 to 9.
It's great to just be more kind of deep in certain games that I want to play. And it's just unfortunate that Destiny's at a bit of a low point for me right now, because I know
I'm glad you said for you.
Oh yeah, for me. Yeah.
I'm glad you added that part.
But it's nice to have the rotation.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think like that's one thing as well for myself. And this could be a podcast topic, talking about lockdown, how it's impacted everything, gaming and everything. But because I'm still working, I still do my 9 to 5 or whatever you want to call it, 8 to 4 every day. But I don't have to travel in the morning, so I get an extra hour and a half of my day nearly from not having to wake up, get ready, travel in, and then an extra hour coming home in the evening. It's literally laptop closed, do what I want.
Yeah.
So like I think not having to travel, gaining those extra 2 hours a day, and on quiet days you can get a little bit extra, but not having to travel. It's made such a huge difference. It just has so much extra time to do whatever you want. It's great. It really is.
And it is that kind of like daunting thing, especially at the end of a work day, and it's probably midweek. You're kind of like, I have to travel for an hour to get home now. And it's just like, by the time you get home, you have to do X, Y, and Z. And then the first thing you want to do is probably jump on your PC and play games, but then at the same time, it's like, holy shit.
You have to make dinner, have a shower, get cleaned up.
I should go to bed.
And that's the other thing, I can stay up a bit later as well. Because it's like, I don't have to be up at 6:30 to get to work for 7:30. I can get up at 8 o'clock and just work till 4.
Yeah.
But
I miss working.
I don't miss being in the office. I'm really hoping that I can have this.
Becomes a thing.
Probably not podcast material, but I'd like to have moved out of working in the city before life goes fully back to normal. Because traveling into the city center every day is just like Like
Oh,
even if I leave the house at 7 o'clock in the morning, it's still a 40-minute drive to get in. It's still our 40 minutes on a bus or 40 minutes back in the afternoon because you're battling with the school. So I would like to get out of the city if possible before this all blows over. Especially now, Stephen, you haven't been in Dublin in a while. They have made a fucking ham sandwich out of the city centre. Cycle lanes everywhere.
Oh really?
Like you know Church Street coming down towards the Quays. That used to be 2 lanes of traffic. It's now a single lane of traffic. And that's like one of the main routes into the city centre from the north side. Anyway, not a podcast material. Shut the fuck up, Kev. Moving on. Dill, what have you been playing this week?
I have been playing my standard morning routine of playing Monster Hunter Rise.
Tell us about Monster Hunter Rise.
So
I'm going to sit here and let you two talk about it.
It's so
your
good.
Impressions and how you feel about it and what you like about it and what you don't like about it and why I should buy it even though I'm not going to.
Stephen, tell us what you think about it since you haven't been on in 4 days.
This is your question. You talk.
Okay, I will. Anyway.
Utah? No.
I'm on high rank 7 right now. So it goes from low rank 1
for
to...
someone to be a total Pope Bear.
No, go for it.
For someone who doesn't know anything about Monster Hunter, how does it work?
So,
story, ranks, I don't know anything about it.
Basically, the system of Monster Hunter is basically eat a meal, go hunt a monster, carve the monster, come back, make cool armor out of the monster's shit and weapons. Do it all again. Rinse and repeat. As you start off on low rank 1, so your monsters gradually go up and up and up and up. So I think it's low rank 1 to 4. I think it's 4 or 5. And then you go into high rank, which is obviously it's harder. But it's the same monsters, they're just toned up. So it'll be like in terms of Destiny talk, going from a Nightfall to a Grandmaster Nightfall. It's the same thing, but it has extra added beefiness to it. You can kill the monster, you can capture the monster, whichever kind of you want. You get extra materials for capturing it rather than killing it. So I'm on hunt or high rank 7 at the moment, and I don't know how much it goes up to. I know in Monster Hunter World there's master rank after that, but it's great because when you finish the regular campaign, the campaign continues in the online kind of section, which is great. So you get up to high rank and then you're fighting like the Elder Dragons and stuff. So I fought the second Elder Dragon today. They're a pair in this game. I won't say anything about it because it is a big spoiler to the story. But like there is some story to do with it, but at the same time, the Monster Hunter story, it's real like typical, like cliche, real like happy-go-lucky.
It's very Japanese.
It's very but yeah, it's nice to have that something to kind of base your things off. But yeah, you can just basically regrind the same monster over and over to get like perfect armor sets and stuff like that. There's rolls on the armor that you can get. There's talismans that you can slot in now, which give you extra boosts. So like defense boost or fire resistance, all that kind of thing. So you can dive into the deep end and like spec into fucking have like a different build basically for different monsters and stuff. But yeah, I'm just loving it. Like the replayability, especially as an introduction to the franchise, is phenomenal. Like the amount of quality of life changes that they've introduced. Now, this is from someone who played Monster Hunter World and fell off of it because it was too difficult solo, I found personally. And I've been loving this. I've been playing it daily for the last 2 weeks now, since I got it. And playing it for about 4 hours in the morning. So I'm loving it. And Stephen picked it up as well, so I'm looking forward to getting some in together.
How's the campaign in it from both of you? Because I'm assuming Stephen hasn't got to the end game yet. So how are you finding the campaign in it?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I've only started, so
he's like, worse than me.
It's typical Monster Hunter. It's you go in for some reason, you're the one who has to do all the work. You meet like 2 twins who give you your quests who are dodgy as fuck. Like I'm only maybe 4 quests into the game and I don't trust them. They're definitely
it does go somewhere with them. I won't say anything, but it does go somewhere.
Well, now the fact that
your
you said that
right.
the Elder Dragons are a pair, if the 2 of them turn into an Elder Dragon, fuck me.
No, they're not. They're not Elder Dragons. It's basically the
But,
TLDR for people is like you're in a village called Kamura, and the rampage is coming, which is like hordes of monsters swarming to your village, and you basically have to find out why they're coming to you and defend it at the same time. So it's like in the background there's an investigation going on. They're like, oh, we found this new monster over here, you need to get rid of it. And then it's like, oh, we found out that this monster is here because this one is attracting it, and then you have to go kill that and stuff. So that's just the premise. It's very light.
it's
very, very light.
The story in terms of campaign is going to be just really cliche, just kill monsters. But the way they kind of set them up and introduce them is nice. That a monster is where it shouldn't be because something else has happened in the biodiversity, and you have to then basically right the wrongs, and then you figure out what's causing all the wrongs. And it's nice, it makes sense. You go, cool. But what I really like about Rise is the introduction for each monster.
Yeah.
So in Monster Hunter World, you just go and do a quest, and some of them have little cutscenes when you meet them first. But in this one, they have like a Japanesey, almost like Ghost of Tsushima entrance. You know, when you do the haikus.
Yeah.
And it goes into like the black lines, and it has this like nice music and
kind of gradient on the screen as well.
Yeah, and it does that for the monsters. But I think I don't know much about haikus. I think there's some haikus under some of them. There's some poetry anyway, like where they talk about what the monster does, and it's really cool. It's really authentic, and the combat is decent. My one biggest gripe is that I don't like the camera. I just can't get to grips with it yet. The lock on is mental. Dill only told me before we came on that I have to press 2 buttons to actually lock on, which makes no sense.
And you call yourselves a Soulstorm player. You're a disgrace.
I was also saying this to Dill. The best way to describe Monster Hunter Rise is anime Dark Souls. Because
Fair enough, yeah.
if you were to cut out the bits between bosses in Dark Souls and just fight the bosses, that's Monster Hunter. It's you just prepare for the boss fight, you go in, you fight the boss, you come home. And like if you can play Monster Hunter, you can play Dark Souls and vice versa. They're very similar in that it's about learning the patterns of the monsters. It's about playing to your strengths.
I think the one difference between Monster Hunter and a Soulsborne game, I get your comparison, but the difference is one feels less punishing. That makes sense. Monster Hunter would be less punishing.
No,
I disagree. Monster Hunter will fuck you up. Like Monster Hunter has this habit of getting a monster to knock you down, and as you're trying to get up, it will go fuck your invincibility frame.
No, I understand. I understand that much, but I mean what you lose from dying in Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
sorry, that's what I mean. I do get the boss will fuck you up. I mean what you lose. So
yeah,
I'll get into it. I'll get into it when I'm talking about Demon Souls about the punishing. But in Demon Souls, for example, if you die, it actually makes the game harder. You lose your souls, you lose your leveling up stuff, and then you have to trek back to try to get them again. Whereas in Monster Hunter, it's like I just restart the hunt.
Yeah, like that's the thing.
That's what I meant. Sorry, Stephen.
You have
don't defer me.
You have 3 feints per hunt. So if you're in a party of, I think it's 3 or 4 online, I can't remember. If everyone dies once, which happens more than not, it's null and void. You basically have to go back and research for a new lobby, which it is a bit annoying when you're like 15, 20 minutes into a fight and someone dies like 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
And it's not me.
But it's, like I'm enjoying the little bit that I played. I want to get into it more, but I think what I find with the Monster Hunter games is that there's a real steep learning curve to get into it. But then once you get into it and learn the systems of each game, it becomes second nature and you enjoy it. Like I still don't know how to use that wire bug. It just
so good.
It's not clicking with me at all. But it will. It will get there and it'll click and it'll be fine. But going from World to Rise, while there are some quality of life improvements as you said, Dill, it's a completely different gameplay loop, and the new mechanics they bring in are kind of necessary to master the game. You can't just go up and bonk the monster.
Bonk.
You have to kind of you just have to learn to use the new mechanics. Like wall running is a part of it now as well, and
see, like I wouldn't even look into stuff like that. Like I just wanted to basically focus on one weapon at a time. Like there's 14, 15 choices, and each different weapon that you use completely changes your fight. It changes how you approach the monster. It changes when you attack it, where you attack it, because your attack windows are either higher or shorter, or kind of more risky than others. But yeah, like I do like you said, Stephen. It is a learning curve. Like that's why I didn't like it at first on World, because I wasn't used to that kind of fighting mechanics, and I was just running in and hitting something for like 14 damage and then getting killed on one like smack. And I was like, how the fuck does anyone enjoy this? But when you play it clever, when you know like the behavior of the monster and you know what they're gonna do, like Rajang, for example, when I came across him, I was like, there's no window to hit him. He's just like he's a bulldozer. So Kev, basically, he's a cross between like a gorilla and a bull, and he just
it's a headless ape.
He just runs at you and just
that's actually the analogy I was gonna make.
Constantly just trashing, and you're like, where's my like window here? It's but when you learn the fights and you pick and choose when you attack and when you dip out, it's really satisfying. So I can imagine it being like the Souls-esque games when you get that perfect dodge, or you're less than quarter health, and you know if he hits me first I'm dead, and if I hit him first I win. So it's that risk reward factor, which I really like it. It's really good.
Yeah, I think the thing that's really deadly about Monster Hunter, but also really daunting, is the weapon system. Because I played all of Worlds with the Greatsword, and once I went to Iceborne, it was a different story, because the monsters are so fast that I just couldn't get the attack timing down. So I was like looking up guys from your man Arix.
Arix has great weapon guides. Great weapon guides.
He's brilliant. And I was like, fuck it, I'll go dual blades. I was like, what's better than one sword? Two swords. So
Akimbo
did that,
swords.
and it's so much fun using dual blades, and it's still fun in Rise. But you can have such a horrible experience in Monster Hunter if you pick the wrong weapon.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Don't learn how to. And like it doesn't tell you how to use the movesets properly. Like in the Great Sword, the best way to charge up your three hit combo is go for an attack, cancel it into a shoulder hit, then go for another one, cancel that, go to a shoulder hit, and then go for an attack. The game doesn't tell you that. It says just attack 3 times. But it's like there's so much to learn in it, and it's not within the game. But when you see people play it and you master it, it looks amazing.
Yeah, and like it's exactly like you said. It's much faster paced as well, which I kind of like, because I'd rather get in and get like 10 light attacks on a monster rather than like one swing of a great sword, that kind of way. But yeah. It's really good, and it has the depth there if you want to, like the ramp up quests. So you can basically slot in these 3 things to a new combo as well. So I've only unlocked the first part simply because to unlock the next stage you have to do 4 hunts, say 1 with a bow, 1 with a gun lance, 1 with a fucking great sword, and it's kind of like at the higher level, like they're level 4 onwards quests in high rank. So I'm kind of like, I don't necessarily want to go in and just fucking smash the buttons. I kind of want to know what I'm doing. So
yeah, that's some Anthem padding. That is Anthem level progression padding.
And some of them are like dual fights as well.
Like you're an end game though, so it's different. It's fine. Yeah. Anthem threw that shit in the middle of its story
at the start. And like I understand that it's to kind of elongate the whole process, but yeah, I'll eventually get to it. I just don't want to go in and be an absolute noob with a bow. Like I tried, and I was doing like 1 damage, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
You showed them with your 1 damage.
But yeah, that's been my mornings for the last 2 weeks.
I did find my own experience with Monster Hunter is about 2 hours worth, and I feel actually quite similar to you, Dylan, that when you were playing it with the guys on PlayStation, that they'd all played it before, so they were all
Yeah.
over leveled. And I played it with Steven, who had already played it before and was way over leveled. So I felt like you going in doing 14 damage and like, I'm helping. Whereas Steven
that's what it is.
Whereas Steven just be like, chop, 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 dead. I was like, I don't enjoy this because I feel completely useless.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like if you're playing it for the first time, you do need to play it with someone else who's at the same level as you. Like, they may know how to play it, but they've started a new character, say, that's under leveled as well. Then you have
like
the same experience.
That's one thing I really like about this. Once you're leveling up your gear with your ranks, I do feel in the single player mode you feel so much more powerful. Compared to World, you actually this monster's your bitch, basically. Like you do carry that extra damage, that it's gonna be more chance of being a success rather than jumping in online and someone could die 3 times, or it's just
like Dynamax Adventures.
Like Dynamax Adventures. But that's the thing, like there's picking your types as well. Like that's a thing, because some monsters are weak to thunder and some are fire and water and poison and stuff, and dragons. So when you have that extra bit of knowledge going into each fight, it is nice, because if you're the one doing that extra DPS and paralyzing or whatever or stunning, it's really satisfying. I really would recommend it though.
How does it perform on the Switch?
I only played it yesterday for the first time docked, so I've been playing handheld the whole time, and it's been great.
How is it docked?
Oh, it's great docked, but it was kind of like I was overwhelmed because I'm so used to having it right here in my face, and then I was kind of like, holy shit, and playing it on a controller. So yeah, like obviously it looks better, but I wouldn't say way better because of well, personally, I've had no experiences. Like, there's no issues with rendering. There's no tears. There's no, like, Monster Hunter is a very fast-paced engagement when you're fighting a monster, and there's no, it doesn't feel like it's frame drops, but there probably
hide it behind the motion blur.
But it's it does perform really well. The only thing is, like, I don't even know what frames it is, but it's very low when you when you look into the finer details of it. But I
assume it's sub 30.
Yeah, like as a whole kind of frame, it's good.
Well, as someone who's really sensitive to frames, like I don't find it bad at all. Like,
are you playing handheld or docked?
Handheld.
Like, it's not like it's not like all the games that are porting over the Switch, like The Witcher and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's built.
It's built for the Switch, so
yeah.
To me,
I would say,
and Capcom know how to make computer games, unlike Game Freak.
Yeah, I think it's a solid 30 with a built-in motion blur that makes it feel smoother than 30, but it's definitely not 60.
No.
But it's actually it's fine. Like, I don't notice any judder. The frame time seems to be perfect.
There's minimal loading screens as well. Very minimal.
Yeah, it does well. Like, for what it does on a Switch, yeah, can't complain.
Like, for example, you're going. There's 2 areas in the village, or there's a few areas in the village, but these 2 areas, you have your main area, which is your offline area, and you're going into the online hub. Like, there's no loading time within that at all. There's literally, like, it comes up saying move, and you just transition into that room straight away, which it's a whole new visual area. So you'd think it would take that extra couple of seconds, but yeah. And even in between hunts and stuff, it's very minimal, which I was so surprised as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been ported to PC eventually.
With the success of it, I'll be very surprised if it doesn't come across.
They've already said it. They've already said it is coming to PC.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
probably next year.
Like,
it's
a no-brainer. Like, the array of monsters that they have on it already, and by the time it comes out on PC, it's just going to be fucking massive. And they'll all be new over the course of that. Like, I know a lot of people were kind of like, oh yeah, it's just old monsters coming into it with a few thrown in, so it feels more like a DLC rather than a whole new game. But from someone who kind of has minimal experience, they're all new to me. So
yeah, same.
I'm enjoying it.
It's actually morning.
That's my morning. Yeah.
That's your morning. Have you anything to add to Monster Hunter, Stephen?
No, I haven't had as much experience with it as Dill, but I will say, like, I am enjoying it. I want to play more, but there are some little, like, the camera is annoying me. But I think as I get more familiar with it, it'll make sense. Maybe it's just the Switch itself. Like, the Switch isn't.
You're
really
very enclosed on yourself, aren't you?
Yeah. Rotating camera with Joy-Cons isn't the most fun experience in any game. Even in Pokemon's wild area, it's not the most smooth experience.
Yeah. Maybe you try it docked, Stephen.
Yeah,
that'd be another option.
Just plug your get a Zim and plug your M&K into your Switch. Off you go.
Actually, I wonder. I have a little dongle for my streaming things. That's USB-C. I wonder would that work?
Could.
Stephen's
like, yeah, I completed the game.
Stephen's gonna get banned from Monster Hunter Rise for
Capcom be at your front door tomorrow.
Illegal input method.
Oh god.
But yeah, that's been my experience with Monster Hunter, and I'm pleasantly surprised because I was apprehensive going in at how quick I kind of fell off world because of the mechanics and how kind of tough it felt. But yeah, it's really kind of invigorated my desire to get into the franchise more.
Nice.
That's been me.
Go back to World, all three of us, new characters. Let's go, baby!
Bring a wire bug, or I'm not there. But yeah, that's been my mornings. And then in the afternoons, I've been playing WoW, which... Yeah. I'm getting to endgame stuff now, and it's getting grindy. And my whole thing for playing WoW in the first place was another story that I wanted to play, an open world story that I could jump in and out of whenever and just play it purely for the campaign.
I've heard that before.
But yeah, I'm getting into the endgame stuff, and it's like on some of the forums they're saying like it to max out your weeklies, it takes like at least 3 hours per day to kind of get through that rotation, and it's not something that I want to do, so I'm kind of slowing down a little bit on that front. But like the campaign is great, and then it branches you off. So basically there's these 4 new factions introduced. So TLDR, it basically a rift opened up. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, a rift opened up in...
So sorry, just before you continue, where in WoW did you start?
So I started on BFA, and then everything I was seeing was Shadowlands. So it says, right, it's a whole new area, it's a whole new zone. So with the time jumping stuff in WoW, when you're jumping in with 7 fucking plus expansions behind you, you're kind of jumping in and out of quests, like from different ones, which doesn't feel great because it's not very linear in terms of storytelling and stuff like that. So I got Shadowlands. So Shadowlands basically introduced 5 new zones. So it's completely out of the Eastern Kingdoms. It's this whole new area. So it was like, there's no chance I'm going to be able to double back on anything. So everything I'm getting is current content. So basically Sylvanas opens up, or she fucking fights, what's his name, Bolvar. 4 Dragon rips out his crown and causes a rift, which opens up this place called the Maw, which is basically like a big hellscape where all the souls kind of go to transition into death. And there's these kind of 4 kingdoms that protect that. And basically a bad guy called the Jailer takes it over. So you have to basically go into these kingdoms and protect it. That's a very basic TLDR. But yeah, you have these 4 new factions, which is like the Ventir, which are like kind of vampire, kind of gothic looking kind of area. Like the zones are fucking phenomenal looking, and they're so unique as well. So you have the Ventir, which are like your vampire guys, and you have the Maldrax. No, what are they called? You have the Ventir, Necrolords, which are like kind of undead, kind of looking green flames, and they're real kind of down and out. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm terrible at explaining like kind of visuals. And you have like your Kyrians, which are like your angel-esque kind of looking things. And that whole zone is like in the clouds, and it's all like blue and positive and blah, blah, blah. And then you have Night Fae, which are like your forest kind of fairies. Everything's to do with animals, and it's real like fairy tale looking. So these all have like their own kind of storylines, and then you basically pledge to one of those factions at the end of the main campaign, and then it gives you more of a campaign just directly involved with one of those factions. So I chose the event here because each faction offers you 2 kind of new abilities as well, and based on your class. Like I'm an arms warrior, so the event here offered like Condemn, which basically replaces one of my main abilities, Execute, which kind of gives it more damage and stuff like that. But I don't like talking about it because it's so like when you're explaining to people who don't play it, it's And
no, but I think
it's
similar to like it'd be similar to for me for Final Fantasy 14, like when you talk about even just replacing some of your main abilities, like that happens in my main rotation is Dragoon. Like it's not the same through quests or anything, but you unlock new abilities that will only, for me, they only appear when you do a certain combination, and when you do that unlocks a new ability, and like, I think
there is some similarities, but it's just when you're explaining kind of different systems and kind of it's hard unless you're actually playing it, and especially I can't explain fucking shit. But you're basically pledging allegiance to one of them and continuing the campaign on their front of it. So the main villain in the campaign is tied into where I went with it as well. So to me, that's kind of elongating that story. But like you have like a battle pass, which is like a renown system, which this is the whole grindy part, because so you have like your armor set for each kind of faction that you choose, or covenant, that's what they're called. So you unlock that through the renown system, but you unlock the ability to be able to buy it with a currency called anima, which is what you're grinding for in your weekly quests and stuff like that. I saw your tweet. But it's so fucking convoluted, dude. Like I think my back piece is like 3,500 anima, but I think last night I only gained like 750, I think it was, and that was with like 4 or 5 hours of playing. So
Jesus,
it's a bit, and that's just for one armor piece. That's just one back piece, and it's transmog, so like it looks great, and I can use it with anything, and it's I really want it. But it's getting to that grindy stage now where it's like do your weeklies, do this kind of rotation, and I didn't want to continue playing when I got to that point, but it ties it into the campaign really well. Like one of my campaign quests that I'm not stuck at, but that's kind of gating me, is like I have to refill our fucking anima reserve, which is like 3,000 or something like that. So it's not letting me continue until I do that. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying my loop, and especially for the introduction to M&K as well. I'm trying to get my everything as kind of compact as possible. is proven.
That's the trick. Like, for anyone ever learning, I hate the term learning, but anyone who is ever trying to pick up and play games M&K, that's the secret. Keep it as close to your WASD as possible. It's about keeping it as simple as possible for yourself, and putting a couple of them right on there.
Oh yeah, I have my fucking mouse shit.
But it really is like that's what.
Like 12 of them.
But for a beginner, it's like keep everything as the less you have to move your hand, the better. Yeah. And if you're playing, say, Destiny and Call of Duty and Halo and any games that are similar to each other in genre, try keep the same button. So always keep your grenade ability on the same button. Always keep your reload on the same thing, or your crouch, or if you have a super ability or whatever. If you keep them on the same button, it just builds that muscle memory for you across different games. Yeah. Sorry, I completely commandeered your discussion there about
No, but it explained it, and that's, I think, not hinder me a little bit, but like I jumped into dungeons this week, like the Shadowlands specific dungeons, because each kind of quest line finishes with kind of kill the boss in the dungeon, because it ties into the story, which I really, really like. It's so well done. So you're doing like a quest for an hour, maybe 2 hours, and the culmination of that quest that you've been doing is a dungeon. So it's kind of like to me, it's a really big payoff. But for someone who it's kind of very new to M&K to kind of put myself into that kind of high end game kind of activity where I have to be like on point is a bit difficult, but got them done. So I'm enjoying that. So I'm getting to the grindy stage, and I don't like it, but I do like it at the same time. But I don't like it.
So the one question I kind of have, I was trying to think of questions I could ask. I knew you were going to talk about Rise, and I knew you were going to talk about WoW because I can see what you do in Discord. And the one kind of question I had was, are you going to go into the deep end of the end game stuff? So are you going to go into a guild or into raiding? Are you interested in doing that for a while, or are you just gonna go like, I'm doing this and then I'm stopping because I know it's a dangerous deep end to jump into?
I would like to, but I can't see myself doing it.
Yeah.
Personally, like guilds are massive, but I feel like it would have to be my main game, and I'm not ready for that, and I don't want that because I enjoy having my my rotation and stuff like that. And I wouldn't like it being basically all on me to like have to put the time into something that I wouldn't want to, and I don't want that to take away from my enjoyment of it. In terms of like raids and stuff for that, I would love to do it mainly just for story because like the Shadowlands main villain is the raid, and then the new one coming out, the Chains of Domination, is one of my favorite characters, and she's the end boss in that as well. So from a story point, I think I'll just experience that through a different medium, like YouTube or following it, because I'm not as like I'm very new to WoW, so I'm not au fait into like all the different classes and all the different kind of spells. Like I can barely even tell you half the names of my own, but I just know it as part of my
the green one
circuit rotation. But that's
Expelliarmus.
When you're reading into like kind of on Wowhead and stuff like that, and you're just like it's a really convoluted thing that's being trying to be explained to you, and it's very hard to understand. So I wouldn't like to be the one that's hindering a group, especially a group of fucking 10 to 20 people doing 10 bosses. But like I would like to be in a kind of a passive thing. Like I'd enjoy it if you guys played it, or like people in the Discord to play it as a passive kind of thing.
Yeah,
I know
I get you,
but you know what I mean, just to jump on and do the story. But no, I always said when I finish the Shadowlands campaign, I'll just play the expansions when it came out.
Fair
like
enough.
I would like to do other characters, but at the same time, the amount of time and effort that goes into that, it's just, and it's like I was saying in Monster Hunter, it's relearning the game again. Like if you're changing weapons, you're approaching it from a whole new direction. The exact same thing based on your class is how you approach different fights and stuff like that.
And just on WoW then, like is that gone free to play now, or are you paying a sub a month for it?
I had a 6-month sub, I think it was, that I got a couple of months ago, but it's still the monthly pay thing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I was wondering if you had subscribed to pay to play the new content, but you already had something.
Yeah, up until you're level 20, I think it is. It's free to play, but after that,
and what's the max level on it now?
60.
Okay.
So it's basically enough time to give you an introduction to see would you like to play it.
I think Dylan kind of seems to play WoW the same way you kind of treat Shadowbringers. Yeah, similar way.
Like I just want the story. I want to get into the universe. I want to kind of just follow the story. Really,
it's one of those things that I'm both upset and disappointed, but also very happy that I didn't get into as a teenager.
Yeah,
because when I was into Warhammer and Games Workshop in my early teens, some of the guys in there were WoW players, and they all sunk every waking minute into it. But I didn't have a gaming PC or a PC at home that was at all capable of playing games. Yeah. So I'm kind of glad in a way that I never got into it, because it could have been dangerous, but I'm also I missed out on that. And I don't really want to go getting into it now because it's a time sink.
Yeah, and like it does feel like that when you're starting it off now, when there's so much that's already in it.
Yeah,
like that's the argument with like classic, because people just want to experience it the way it was experienced like 15 years ago, which it's great, but it looks like it came out 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like I can understand the reasoning behind it, because you're just playing it as it was and you're getting the same experience that someone else would have got. But when you're jumping in as a new player to the franchise, let alone just this expansion, having X amount of things jumping out at you, being like, come here, do this, no, come here, do this, and it's tidbits from different quest lines spanning different expansions. It's it's tough, but it's enjoyable. It obviously is if I'm playing it fucking nearly double figures a day for the last couple of months. Yeah, but I don't think I will get into the end game. Like, it would be great, but like as bad as I think watching a fucking Destiny 2 raid video is on learning the mechanics, I don't think I can move fast enough. That's the one thing I can't, like, for the amount that's going on in like boss encounters on Destiny. Does that and then some on each boss in WoW, and even some dungeon bosses I'm kind of struggling on, because there's a lot of movement, and being the DPS class that I am, you kind of have to be up front and center, and you're obviously the one that gets targeted then if your tank isn't taking the what's it called? Aggro. That's it. Couldn't think of the word. So yeah, I don't want to be the one, like the way you put it a couple of weeks ago, Stephen. You don't want to be the one that kind of lets the team down in those kind of instances. So.
To be fair, if you take the aggro, that's your tank's fault, and he should be ashamed of himself. So, yeah, but mechanics are a bitch. Like, I'm sure WoW is the same, but like in Final Fantasy 14, like fuck me, it's not even just about being positional. It's about remembering certain phrases or things that the boss does to move into certain parts of the platform. Or like, I'm so thankful in Final Fantasy that they have indicators that are consistent throughout the whole thing. So they have like a stack up marker. So when the boss is about to do damage where it would kill one person if they take that hit. So it stacks up. It shows like, you need to stack in so everyone moves to that person and you share the damage then.
Yeah.
Or there's one where it's like one person can only take this damage, and if anyone else gets in, they'll die, and that's a different marker. And then things for when things are going to like AoE across the platform. I'm like, thank God that's there, because trying to remember all that and where you're going would be so insane.
Difficult. Yeah.
But then that's why they make difficulty. Yeah, and that's why they throw so much shit at you. It's like, oh, you have visuals, so learn them or fucking die.
Like is there add-ons in Final Fantasy as well?
No.
So like, to me, WoW is a different game without mod and add-ons and stuff like that. Like, I have an add-on that if I'm standing in something that can damage me, I get like a foghorn in my ear. So it's literally just goes, if you're in like a zone that you're taking damage, and it doesn't stop. It's not just a one and done. It's every tick of damage you take, it's like, it's fucking, yeah. So I know I'm doing something bad, but like that, you have your add-on mods that are kind of like, it's like the way you were saying, it'll go into this next phase and it's going to do this attack and it's going to do this kind of tick damage. But yeah, understanding that on a bigger scale with so much going on around you is, yeah, it's a game in itself. So yeah, I think I'll cut my losses. Well, I just want to.
Yeah. It's interesting hearing about it from someone on the outside. As someone on the outside, from someone,
like, don't get me wrong,
from someone who can actually discuss it rather than just be like, "Oh, it's this and it's great and I love it." And actually, been able to discuss it. It's interesting hearing about it from the outside.
But like that, the possibilities are endless in it as well. So whatever you want to get from it, you can get from it. So
can I do GTA roleplay in it though?
Probably there is a server where you can
there's undoubtedly a server, and I bet it's very fucking weird.
But yeah, like, there's like some people just play it and mount farm. Like, some of the mounts, what you have to do to get them, it's like a raid encounter or like a fucking boss encounter in itself, with so many steps along the way that I'm kind of like, that's just what some person wants to go in and do and complete the collections, like triumphs and destiny and seals and stuff like that. That's the target for them, and a lot of them are locked behind like dungeons and stuff like that on the mythic side of it. So I'll never get them, but they look really cool. But that's like if you just want to go in and collect mounts, or if you want to go in and play the story, you can play it however way you want, which is what I like as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been my week of gaming, I think.
That's your plan, apart from the obvious Apex and stuff.
Apart from the obvious, yeah. Apex is Apex.
It's Apex.
Not much you can really say about that.
The new stuff announced today, which I didn't actually include in the news, but that's on me.
Oh,
we can discuss that without the thing anyway when we get to that part of the pod.
Yeah. Kev.
So, no, we're gonna go to Steven.
You've been playing.
We're gonna go to Steven next because I need to go to the toilet. So Steven's gonna start, and then I'll go last. So Steven, have fun. I'll be listening. I'll be back in a minute.
Hopefully, we won't be listening to the trickle.
Yeah. Yeah, so this week, what have I been playing? Played a bit of Monster Hunter Rise, as we said earlier on. So got a few hours into that. I want to sink a bit more into it. It is, like, as you said, it's really handy just having it sitting down in the sitting room, like while you're just watching TV or something. It's like, I can actually get a bit of gaming in. It's great.
Don't look at me. You don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm just playing Candy Crush.
But that's the thing then. So I don't have the sound on, so I'm not listening to it. So I'm like, if there's any like audio clues to what's going on, I'm completely missing it. So I'm just.
They are minimal though, so I wouldn't worry about that. Like it's sometimes they're like your character, and if you're playing online, the other characters will just shout out, being like, "He's attacking us" or something like that.
Yeah,
little things, just like if he's powering up to go for a big attack or something.
So that was some of my evenings.
I could just picture you in a corner now, hunching over the Switch, trying to block the light. It's like being like 8 years of age, hiding your DS under your pillow again.
Oh, back when they were like, no colors, so you didn't have to worry about the color giving it away.
No light, even.
No light at all. Yeah, Jesus.
You were hanging behind your curtain trying to get the street light. That's what I had to do.
Oh no, thankfully I just didn't bother. Oh no, I had that little magnifying light thing on.
Yeah.
Turn it over. That was great. Then I went back to OddWorld then.
How's that been?
Good. It's difficult. Kev's shouting something. It's different to the originals. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. They brought in a crafting system. So like now they have things where you've environmental hazards. So you can make a fire out of a mix of a soda drink and a naked flame. You can throw that on it and it's highly flammable, and you can use that to kill the sligs or create new paths.
What are we talking about?
OddWorld.
OddWorld, okay.
And like it's you can make IEDs, you can make stones that you can throw at sligs to knock them unconscious. Like there's some new cool things in it. But I think that 2D platformer style game is a bit hard to play now in 2021.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, is it still the platformer that it was?
Yeah, it's like 2.5D is what they call it.
2.5D.
But what is really cool about it, what I really like, is in the background. The background isn't just a like hand painted element. Yeah. It's the map. So when you see something in the background, you're going there at some stage. So you can see all like the checkpoints, and you can see like if you're close enough to it, you can see some of the dangers you're gonna come up against. So that's really nice because you can kind of get a scale for how big the map is and where you're going, and like it's a pretty game. But the 2.5D thing's a bit weird, especially where you might have a ledge here and a ledge up here facing that way, and you want to jump up. It can just be very annoying to make Abe jump straight.
Okay.
And they brought in double jump now. So what I've been finding is I've been doing like little trick jumps where I'll jump out and try and double jump back in, because that's easier than trying to just go up straight, which you can do, but just the controls don't really
play to that.
Great.
Yeah.
How does it compare? They remove farting, of course they do. How does it compare to other platformers, like contemporary platformers? If you play any platformers, that might have been a loaded question that you can't answer.
No, I can answer it.
Because I think like from Abe's Odyssey back in the late 90s to platformers now, the likes of Ori and that, like they've come a long way.
Yeah, it's very much a game stuck in the 90s in terms of platforming, but trying to introduce new elements. Like I say, they have crafting now, so they're trying to mix it up with some new genre tropes that are there, but the actual game loop of the platformer is very 90s. But some of the new elements they brought in, like there's a new thing there that I came up against, which was a fire extinguisher. So like you can now put out fires, and that plays into a boss fight, which you have, which they've never had before. You never had boss fights, but it was very simple. Like I was expecting this to be a really difficult encounter, but it was simple. Like just put out the fire up towards the boss, and then throw something at it to make it go on fire, and then game over. It's like cool. But the levels themselves are very difficult, and what I'm finding, what's really annoying is I'm trying to save as many Mudokons as I can, and some of them are hidden so well, and you just don't find them in the map. So what they have is they have a little icon at the like bottom left of your screen, and it shows you the Mudokons. So when you collect one, it will show you its position on like this chart. And every so often I'll notice like there'll be, my white Mudokons I've saved, a gap of 2 or 3, and then the next guy I have is like 2 or 3 Mudokons over. I'm like, where the fuck have I missed 4?
You're like, how have you gone past that many? Yeah.
And then you go back and I can't find them. There was one mission or one level I did there where I could see them, but I couldn't see how to get access to them. And that annoys me, because the way to get the first good ending is you have to save 80% of Mudokons in all levels. I've already failed that, so I'm not getting the good ending. So from like mission 2, I've already failed that, so I'm not getting the good ending, which means I get the bad ending when I finish, which locks me out of the last 2 missions. So to go back and do the level select and do each mission again to get those 80% in each one.
So can you not do the level select until you finish the game?
I think you can do it beforehand, but I'm just kind of going through it, so I haven't looked to go back. There was one mission the other day where, so the other thing they have is they've quick save, or not quick save, they've checkpoints. So you get to a checkpoint, but what's really annoying is if you get to that checkpoint and then complete things up to just before the next checkpoint and you die, whatever your save state was at that last checkpoint is what you go back to. So there was a time where I left a Mudokon at the checkpoint beforehand because I wanted to scope out what was going on ahead of me, and I had 3 Mudokons with me. So it saved with those 3. I had to go back to the last one to pick him up, and every time I did, I kept dying, which meant I went back to where the 3 were. But then when I got to where the one guy was, it checkpointed me, which meant I had to go and make my way back to the other 3. So if I kept dying, I kept going back to the one.
Fucking hell.
And if you loot things along the way, so you can loot lockers and bins to create more materials. So you do all that again, and it's like, for fuck's sake.
Okay.
Sounds very Souls-like.
Sounds very like, I'm not going to play that.
But what I've done is I've knocked it down to easy now, because I'm just like, okay, this is some of the things that are just bullshit, and I'm not enjoying it, and I want to get through it.
No shame. Dropping the level just to get the experience firsthand. Fine.
But you know what?
Welcome.
It's made no difference. I don't think the game's any easier. I don't see where they've made any difference. Like there's not less enemies. They're still as attentive. Like I don't know where they've made it easier. So
yeah.
All
maybe
I know
the boss has like a less of a health bar and less damage output and stuff like that.
Maybe to give you more materials or something, so you create
maybe
more.
That might be what it is. Yeah.
But it's like I'm I still think it's a pretty game. I'm still enjoying it. There are some bullshit things. If you're not into OddWorld, it's probably a game you won't get into.
Okay.
I think that is kind of what it is. It is if you played it when you were younger, or when the original came out and kept with the launches since then. It is something that you've acquired the taste for and you'll get into. Yeah. But if you didn't enjoy it back then, or you just never played it, it's kind of like, this ain't for me.
It's nothing new in terms of groundbreaking to the franchise. It's the same thing. What added things onto it, like you said.
It's not like they reinvented it as a 3D platformer like Mario did when it went from 2 to 3D, and it's a completely different game. Like, they had already done that actually in Munch's Odyssey, but they've gone back to the 2.5D platforms now. So if you didn't like it before, you won't like it now. You really won't like it now. It's not a new game. They've doubled down and they've made it harder. So
that's fair enough. That's what
hope you're enjoying that.
They've got. They have got a dedicated fan base. It was people were crying out for this game to be made. So there's clearly a desire for the franchise for that franchise.
Back in a second.
It's just interesting to me when you look at that in comparison to. I'll go back to it. Ori. Ori's probably the benchmark for platformers now in terms of everything that they achieve with that, because the Ori games are wonderful. So when you compare Ori to Abe's, it's like, I'm gonna play this one. It's prettier and it's nicer and it's well,
there's no comparison. I haven't played Ori yet, but actually that's on Game Pass.
Get it. They're on Game Pass. They are. Get it on. Somehow get it to your TV. And just
Moonlight. I have my shield.
Sit back, put the feet up, and just enjoy it. Like, it's they're like they do get difficult at times, but it's fabulous. It's one of the soundtracks I could probably have included a few weeks ago, because it's got a really good soundtrack, and the soundtracks go with the encounters and the levels. They're excellent. They really are. They're the benchmark for that genre now.
Yeah. So then the other thing that I was playing this week was finishing off FF14's latest patch in Shadowbringers. I thought this was the last patch, but actually it's part 1, so there's a part 2 coming out again next month, because it kind of ended in a weird place. But yeah, there was like 5 extra missions. They were grand. There was a new dungeon, which was pretty cool. They brought out the new raid, which is the Nier Automata stuff, and I haven't touched the raid, so I haven't gone near.
You don't raid in Final Fantasy, do you? You just don't touch it.
No. I'm. It's funny because I'm in a guild. They call them free companies in Final Fantasy, and I've the Discord. I see the notifications, and they're always looking for people to do it. But it's like what Dale was saying. I think I said it before. Is I have a social anxiety around doing that. Like, the raids in Final Fantasy are either 8-man raids or 24-man raids. And
are they the same raids or are they different raids? Sorry, this is just coming from a complete.
They're different raids.
So there's 2 different styles. Okay.
There's 2 different styles. So there's an Alliance raid, which is 24, and then I think the Nier raid is 8. And the Nier raids, and those raids are kind of story raids, and then the Alliance ones are story adjacent, I think.
Story adjacent.
I'm trying to think what they're similar to the story, but they touch on other things. I could be wrong. The Nier one could be 24. But the only raid that I did 3 raids in Final Fantasy 14, and they were the Crystal Tower raids, because they made those mandatory if you want to play Shadowbringers, because and this came back from patch 2.0, so they're like 7 years old, and that raid sets up Shadowbringers. So if you play that raid, you actually get a better understanding for some of the characters in Shadowbringers and what's going on. And it's really cool, and I'm kind of glad they made that mandatory, because without that context and without some of the things that happen, you kind of go, why do people seem surprised by this? Like, this is new information, but it's not. And when I did that raid, I was already way past level 50, so it sinks you down to 50. But I knew what I was doing. I knew my rotations. I just messaged the group saying I'm new. Just shout at me if I'm doing anything wrong. And the way they break it up is
sounds familiar.
Yeah, exactly. It's how I start every conversation in Discord. I'm new. Don't shout at me if I'm doing it wrong. But they break it into 3-man alliances of groups of 8. So if you're used to 8-man content, you're doing the same thing. There's 24 of you there, but you're being broken up into like 3 parts of a map. And what one team does impacts another team. So one team will have to unlock a mechanic for another team and stuff like that. And depending on the raids, it's different. But like that was fun. And I think with 8 people, it didn't feel like there was too much pressure on me so long as I was just avoiding mechanics.
Yeah.
So if you just do the mechanics, and because I'm DPS, if I do mechanics and just keep hitting, it's fine. I'm not the tank. I'm not the healer. So watching the video on it just made it a lot easier to tackle. So I do want to get into the raids. I think it'd be fun, especially because it's the near storylines and it's supposed to be cool. But yeah, like that, it's one of those games. I know if I continue subscribing, I'll just sink hundreds of hours into it. And I really enjoy it. I really enjoy how simple the MMO mechanics are, and it doesn't feel very overwhelming. It's basically a single player game up until you have to do the dungeons, which, like in what you're saying, a WoW, at the end of a certain quest line, it will lead to a dungeon, and dungeons are 4-man activities, and they have a duty finder, so it'll match you up with people, and it'll match you up with people who are way over leveled, but it sinks them down to your level.
Yeah.
So everyone's going in with the same abilities, with the same health, and so on. So someone who's a level 80, if you're doing the first dungeon, will be synced down to level 12, and all the abilities they have at level 80 are gone. So they're using their basic rotation from level 12. So it's cool. So you're not going in and having the tank one shot and everything.
Yeah.
But if you want to do that, then you can do what's called unsynced, and just bring in a party of level 80 people who'll just fly through it. You don't get the experience for it, but you get through it and get the same, you progress through the story. So that's cool. So you can go back and, like, some of the things I was doing were the early 8-man Coil of Bahamut's raids that they had. And I've soloed all of them bar one that requires you to have 2 people to do a mechanic. So that's fun, just going in, pissing on everything. And it's like, this is great.
I think I need that experience in WoW, uncapped.
And the story in some of those raids is phenomenal. Yeah, like I gush over Final Fantasy XIV. I really wish it wasn't an MMO so more people could play it.
Yeah. Just for the context of the story that you get.
But in saying that, it's such an easy MMO to get into. Like, if anyone is ever looking to get into something, because I played a bit of WoW, Final Fantasy XIV is hands down the easiest.
Okay.
And it has native controller support still.
I can do both now. Just one really slowly. I can't look and turn at the same time.
Oh, really?
Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
No.
I always love when you are doing like stuff with people and that have only started playing Destiny, and it's the same. They can't look and they can't shoot and move at the same time, so they'll run and stop to shoot you, and then start running again. It's kind of funny watching it.
I'm just saying with res,
they were the days.
I find it very hard to res and shoot at the same time unless the enemy's already in front of my crosshair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So then, other than that, then nothing else really. There was something. Oh yeah, Near Replicants comes out tomorrow. Preload
hours if you're on console.
Yeah. No. I really want to play it. I'm refusing to buy it.
It's a remake, right?
It's between a remake.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's mostly a remake, is what I mean.
Yeah, it's funny because the game is Near Replicant 1.225 something.
Whatever. Yeah.
But you know what that's in reference to?
It's a reference to something in game.
No. It's the square root of 1.5.
Ah, fair enough.
Because it's not a full remake.
Yeah,
it's a version 1.5, so they literally just went, what's the square root of 1.5? It's 1.22 something, whatever.
Fair
so
enough.
That's a nice little touch. Yeah, it's crazy.
I knew it was a reference to something. I thought it was something in game.
I thought it was too, and then someone was like, no, it's actually just a square root of 1.5.
Fair enough.
So Yeah, so I want to play that, but considering how shit Square Enix are with PC ports, I'm not touching it on Steam until I know what it's like, and early reviews aren't great. And once I
console
see
reviews though,
console reviews seem to be solid. You know, it's 60 frames per second, but it's PS4, not PS5.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Yeah.
Why?
So it was made for PS4 and
I suppose,
Xbox One.
if it was in development over how long a period, yeah.
So if that gets a PS5
just weird.
update,
It's weird it's not releasing with a PS5 upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, devs and insiders and stuff, you'd think they'd be told, look, this is coming out in 2 years, or this is our trajectory for the next 2 years. This is what you're going to have to make so it runs on this system, blah, blah, blah. So you'd think they would be able to have a decent upgrade possible there, you know?
The only thing I can maybe think is that Automata came out on PS4, I think.
Yeah.
So that it's just
the same
the sequel's coming out on PS4, just so the people who played it, just because it hasn't quite moved. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a bit weird. It is a bit weird though.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've heard it. Console reviews are coming in the 90s, whereas PC reviews are.
Oh wow.
Where 9 out of 10s, 8.5s, 9.5s out of 10, whereas the PC reviews are around the 7 range. Yeah. That's due to performance, by the sounds of it.
Which is and Square Enix are notorious for bad PC ports, so I just wouldn't touch one on day one anyway. Maybe if they do a patch,
unless it was their 7 remake.
Ooh,
just for ray tracing.
Yeah. Oh, could you imagine ray tracing on that?
So nice. Just sit there and take screenshots all day.
They've done. They haven't done ray tracing by the looks of it, but they've done a bit like Destiny. They've done some stuff without actual ray
Luminous
tracing.
Engine.
Yeah.
The Luminous Engine has very good lighting in it.
Yeah, it's something. But anyway, sorry.
But and then just touch on the other thing is I had zero interest in this game until today. But Returnal.
We're gonna talk about that afterwards. Shut up.
But
shut up.
I don't like that. I don't like that this is making me want to purchase it day one.
Which is a good thing. Anyway. And you have a PS5.
Like, just to go on it then. Like when we were watching the PlayStation thing together, live. Both me and Steven went, meh, not interested, and you were like, I'm sold on that. That looks great.
Well, it's like Death Stranding with added oomph.
From the impressions the previews I've seen, we did not have a preview code, so we aren't breaking no embargoes or no nonsense. We're going off what other people have said, so we're okay. It's Diablo as a third-person shooter. That's basically Rav was saying. It's Diablo if Diablo was a third-person sci-fi shooter in Alien or Prometheus universe.
Oh yeah,
that's what it is.
Sold. I was already sold, but there you go. Sold. I'll buy 2.
It's like procedurally generated each time you die. You keep all your upgrades as you die. So you go off exploring. You find a lot of shit. You get upgrades. Huh?
Thought we were saving this for later.
Okay, I'll shut my mouth.
Steven mentions the word Returnal. Nope. Kev's like, okay, so this is what's better.
No, we can save it. Anyway.
Yeah. No, so that's been mine. So I'm finished. You may speak now, Kev.
Okay. Right, just let me get that timestamp because I've been very good today. I hope you guys know. I'm getting timestamps and everything. So my gaming. Okay, there's 2 things I've really been playing. Obviously, I've been playing Destiny because I always play Destiny. So I'll talk a bit about Guardian games and my impressions of that. Because that came out this week, and I know you guys haven't really touched it. You have no interest in doing it, so that's fine. So I've been playing that, and I've also been playing Demon's Souls at long last. So after our conversation last week about our favorite boss encounters, I want me some boss encounters. because me and Stephen both talked about Dark Souls and Sekiro and Bloodborne, and I'm not gonna go play Bloodborne because it's 30 FPS. I don't want to play Sekiro again because I really just love my playthrough of that, and the only way to really play that again is I just have to start it all again, and I don't really want to start it all again. I think it eventually got a New Game Plus. I don't think it launched with a New Game Plus. I could be wrong on that, but I think it did get one. Yeah.
Well, it hasn't.
But I don't want to really play it again because it was so good, so pure. So I was like, you know what? I've had Demon Souls sitting on the shelf since the 19th of November.
1997.
1997. Nah, since the PS5 launch. So I decided to play it. But I'll get onto that in a minute because I can talk. I've some impressions about that. Guardian Games. Guardian Games is the seasonal event for Destiny. It usually happens around about this time of year, April, May. Before the end of the first of the seasonal drops, second of the seasonal drops since the big update. It's much improved on last year. To be honest, it's less.
What was last year actually?
Last year
either.
Do bounties. It was just do bounty simulator. It was really crap. This year, basically, you got an Evil Levante in the tower. As always, she gives you a class item, and you equip that class item. When you have that class item equipped, abilities, any ability kill drops a thing called a laurel. They're basically gambit motes that you pick up. Yeah. You can hold up to 500 of them at a time. And any ability kill or any yellow bar kills, they drop them. And Titans, Warlocks, Hunters all drop different colors. And that's all fine. You use those laurels to buy things called contender cards. Now there's a contender card for Strikes. There's a contender card for Crucible. There's a contender card for Gambit. And they all cost 100 each. And that tells you to do a specific thing in that playlist, that mode. So it might be get stasis or solar kills in Strikes, or get, and then it's like completing the strike grants bonus progress, or get void and arc or stasis kills in the Crucible, bonus points for kinetic kills or whatever. And then once you complete that, they'll give you gold medals. So each activity you complete gives you a bronze medal for Crucible, Strikes, Gambit, a silver medal for Nightfall, something, and then a gold medal for GM Nightfalls and Trials. And then completing it's silver medal for Nightfalls and Trials. And then those 3 contender cards each give you a gold medal each. And then you have platinum medals, which drop from the contender cards for Trials or for Nightfalls. So it's complete the same kind of thing, but in a Nightfall or in Trials.
Playlist. Yeah.
But I think the Nightfall ones are less specific. Like the Crucible or the Gambit or the Strikes ones are get void or stasis kills, where the Nightfall is just get kills.
Okay.
So they're less specific. So basically then you have a medal case which can hold, I think it's 5 of each type of medal or something. But you have to just keep banking them in, and then Titans or Warlocks or Hunters win. But I don't really care about that. It's just about getting the loot. So there's a quest line to get the Heir Apparent Catalyst, and I got that done. So it's been alright. Like, it's been, I was doing the Grandmasters anyway, because it was all 6 Grandmasters that were available. So I was doing that to get the Gilded Conqueror done for myself and Chaotix. So we both got that done, and then just did all 6 Grandmasters. So it just kind of, it supplemented what I was doing already, which is great. It's great when seasonal stuff supplements what you're already doing. The only issue I have with it is that you have to go back to the tower every time you complete a contender card. So you generally complete a contender card for doing 1 strike. Like if you're
that quick?
They're real quick. So if you have stasis stuff on or whatever, if you're doing what it tells you to do, you will generally get it completed in 1 card, in 1 activity. So it means you're going tower, strike, tower, strike, tower, Crucible match. So it's just kind of like,
it's like A1 2.0.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So it's a bit shit having to go back each time, but other than that, it's been fine.
Okay. It's nice that, like you said, it supplements your gameplay rather than forcing you into something that you don't want to.
Exactly. And at this stage, I'm just ticking off the triumph list just to get the triumphs done for it. I've one triumph left, which is so each day one of the 3 activities is the preferred activity of the day.
Okay.
And we all thought it'd be Gambit today because it was Strikes, Crucible. You'd think Gambit be next? No, it's Strikes, Crucible, Strikes, Gambit. Strikes, Crucible, Strikes, Gambit.
So it's on the 5th one.
So it's just fine. But
just goes to show they know people don't like playing Gambit.
Yeah. Well, and Crucible. Yeah, no, that's been all right. The GMs were fun. We did 7 Grandmaster Nightfalls last night in a row, which they were fine. You just, I think when Grandmasters first came out, we weren't used to them to that level and having the champions and dealing with that stuff, and B, we had really bad Overload and Unstoppable mods or barrier mods. So it was like I don't know what, hand cannon, barrier hand cannon, which wasn't as good as sniper barrier, a barrier sniper, because it's just shred it with a sniper. So and also we've just been doing them for so long that you just kind of get into a rhythm of how each of the strikes flows. So that was actually quite fun. The only time it actually got a bit salty was towards the end, where it was just like it was our last one. We all just wanted to get it finished and get off. It's kind of like saying, someone please kill this fucking barrier servitor, please. Yeah. But I think myself and Chaotix both got palindromes that we're happy with. I got an outlaw.
I saw yours, Outlaw Rampage. Yeah,
so nice. It's so cool. Like I was using it in PvP yesterday for a couple of games, and even without the range, because it's a 140 hand cannon, and 140s just don't have range in comparison to anything else in the game right now. So like I was coming up against Deadmans, and that was just shredding me. But even without the range, it feels crispy. So when 140s eventually get buffed again, I'm hoping it'll be a nice one to have. It's like high cal Outlaw Rampage, which is it's what I want in a hand cannon. Is that Outlaw perk? As long as it has Outlaw, I'm fairly happy. And if it has a damage perk and a bit of range in there, then great. The damage drop off on 140 hand cannons is just too severe at the moment. So just if they gave them an extra 3 or 4 meters, it'd make a huge difference. So I'm happy to have one anyway, ready to go. And we're getting new ones next season
after doing that as well.
Yeah, and I get
with something that you actually want to use rather than just for collection purposes.
Exactly. Because Palindrome was fucking great in Destiny 1, and hopefully 140s can get back to a position in Destiny 2 where they're usable, because I want my baby Ace back. But yeah, got Gilded Conqueror done as well, which is good to have it. I'll do those each season. I might as well just do them each season. They don't take too much time to get them done. Apart from winning 50 Gambit matches, but apart from that, it was okay.
I'll do that.
But no, I wasn't into doing this sort of stuff before, so I'm happy to do it now. If they bring out a pin for Gilded Conqueror and Gilded Unbroken Dylan, you can have no problem getting the code off me to add them to your collection.
So when Conqueror came out initially, they brought out a pin associated with it, a seal pin, which they do with every title. But then Conqueror came back, but the ability to purchase the pin didn't. Yeah. So they have that time frame of the season. Yeah, so it's kind of like, if you're going to bring that back, same with the Trials one, why could you not
bring the pin
back? Same with...
hopefully they do a gilded pin, like it was just like a bronze color maybe instead of the golden color, or the ones you have are. So if they bring that out...
I personally wouldn't like that, because... I'll
buy it for you.
But the dredging one.
But the dredging one.
But the dredging one. I have my Gilded dredging.
That was fun though. I know when GMs first came out, I wasn't a fan of them. So Grandmaster Nightfalls are the highest level of Nightfall Strike in Destiny for those uneducated. You have to be, at the moment it's 30 and 25 level, but the strike difficulty is 30 and 50. But it caps you at 30 and 25, so you can't go any further than that.
Yeah.
Basically everything 2 shots you or 3 shots you. So you have to, it's all about teamwork. But I'm much happier doing them now, because the rewards correspond to the activity difficulty. So being able to earn these great weapons, palindromes, great swarms, great, but the adept having an adept version of them, which is a different coat of paint on it, different skin, they get a slight stat boost. Like that's all great because it feels worth of your time then. Yeah. And hopefully the 3 we're going to be getting next season are just as good. We're getting 3 new legendaries next season for the strike play for the Grandmasters again, or for the Nightfalls again. So hopefully,
they're on par with the likes of your Recluses and your Lunas and stuff like that. Your seasonal.
I'm interested to see what they do, if they'll make 3 new weapons altogether, or if they'll bring back ones from Destiny 1 again. I imagine they might do 1 new one or 2 new ones and
just have a return
and bring one back. I think it might be I think it might be one with either 3 letters at the start or 4 numbers, because they were both Vanguard snipers back in the day. We might get LDR or case there.
LDR what was the pulse rifle that was?
Oh, Hawksaw.
Oh, that's the one. Hawksaw.
They could do.
It was
Hawksaw.
Like the purple looking thing, wasn't it?
It was green.
I never got one. Actually.
It was green. It was that
bright,
shredded. Yeah, shredded was the green. Yeah, that was a Vanguard. I think because this season we had a heavy machine gun, hand cannon, and an auto rifle. So next season's probably going to be not those 3. So it could be
grenade launcher, a new
sniper. Yeah.
No, did you say grenade launcher already or heavy?
No, it was a heavy machine gun.
So grenade launcher, sniper.
I'm gonna put my shot out there and say it's gonna be LDR or 1,000 yards there, Party Crasher, and Hawksaw. But that's 3. That's probably 3 really. They're probably too good to get out of the way in one season. So it's going to be one of them. I think there'll be one of them at least.
It's going to be a bow.
There was no bows.
It's going to be a sword. Watch. They'll be like, we'll bring back bows.
No, I reckon
we're not getting Iron Banner armor this season, are we?
No.
New.
There's new Iron Banner weapons this season, but not armor.
So I can see it being old weapons, So like the way they brought
I think there'll be a mixture
this season and old Nightfall weapons.
So I think there'll be a mixture. Rotation. I think they'll do maybe 1 or 2 returning weapons from Destiny 1 as one of the 3, and then I reckon they might do a new one, because maybe not. Some Party Crasher might be a good shout though, because
Fellswinter's getting,
and it might be a what you call it, a kinetic. They might make Party Crasher a kinetic, because there's not really many kinetics that are good apart from the Trials shotgun. So that's possible. Anyway.
Oh god, Hawksaw's gonna be an energy weapon.
Yeah. Paired with Bastion, boy.
I could see it being primary. The kinetic.
I hope so.
Not that I'll use it anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah.
How's your playthrough of Demon Souls been?
So after our conversation last week, I decided to fire up Demon Souls at long last, and I did not regret my decision. I'm trying to get the Guardian Games stuff done as quick as possible, so I can just focus on Demon Souls.
Yeah.
I've played through the first world as far. So basically, it's split into 5 worlds.
Yeah.
5 stones. I've played through the first one as far as I can, and I've moved on to the second one. Except I took a detour to go get a weapon Stephen told me to get, which I didn't like in the end. But I'm just about to fight the first boss in the second world. But so yeah, I've played through. I was at the gates of Boletaria, where working my way around, fighting the shit, and then fighting the phalanx. It's not a Destiny phalanx. It's a phalanx where he has lots of minions around him, and that was a very easy boss fight, because the trick is to just light everything on fire. So it starts you off, it gives you a little tutorial of how to fight and how to block and how to dodge and all this shit. Actually, I played through. I started a playthrough as a knight, I think, and I got up as far as just before the phalanx, the first boss, and basically in Demon Souls, the weight of the gear you have equipped, if you have over 50% of that, is you're basically kind of over encumbered, like in Skyrim or Oblivion or Fallout, where not that it slows you completely, but if you're over 50%, you
lowers your stats,
you move a bit slower. So there's a thing that they like to call fat man rolling in the Souls community, where your roll isn't as effective, you don't roll as far or as fast. And I really didn't like that. So I played about 2 or 3 hours and then went, nope, I'm starting again. I hate this. I want to play as a faster class at the start of this game because this is horrendous. So I started again. I think is it a wizard it's called, I think? Magician?
No.
Magician? No.
I know,
Anyway, it's just a slightly faster class, and then I've started just specking into whatever. But I was moving a lot faster. But yeah, you start off, man, the game is so beautiful. Like, Souls games are generally quite dreary looking, quite dark and dull. They're beautiful, but in a really dark and dull kind of way. But Demon Souls, like, so I never played Demon Souls when it first released back, whatever, 11 years ago, wherever it was. I never played it, and it didn't age well. So that's why I never went back to play it after loving Bloodborne. I never went back to play Demon Souls. It's same with the first Dark Souls. They just didn't age well. It's kind of like PUBG in the Battle Royale genre. It's great, and I love that, but it just aged badly. But I'm really happy that they did the remake of it, because it's beautiful and it's a solid 60 FPS. It's a 4K 60. It's gorgeous. I haven't had any dropped frames or anything like that so far. So I haven't tried it on so there's the performance mode and there's the quality mode. I haven't swapped over to quality, which I assume is full 4K with all the ribbons and bells and whistles. But I assume that drops it to 30 maybe.
It's not worth it.
It's not. I wouldn't have thought it was worth it, because in that kind of game, difference. Yeah. What's it?
You don't notice any difference, really.
But does it drop the frames? Does it become more framey? Yeah. So in that kind of game, you want to have frames because it makes it easier to see what's coming at you, basically, and you can react a little bit quicker. But yeah, it's a stunning looking game. So I played through the first part, did the whole route over the gate of Boletaria Castle, beat the Phalanx boss, which was very straightforward. It was the easiest boss I've ever fought in a Souls game, to be quite honest. So what I actually didn't like about it was, when you're coming down the stairs to unlock the shortcut in the left tower, there's a couple of the minions that the Phalanx has. And you kind of look at it and go, this is difficult to fight. Oh, what if it looks like slimy. I'll try to light it on fire. Oh, that did a lot of damage. So it kind of gives you a hint of how to fight that boss, which I would like to go into the boss and think, oh shit, how do I fight this? But it was very straightforward. Yeah, you go through there and then you encounter a couple of fire-breathing dragons. And that's a fun time. You start walking across the bridge, not the bridge, what you call it? The wall. It's battlements, I was right, wasn't it? You just have to walk across that. And a dragon swoops down and burns you alive. And that's great. So then you camp on top of the tower and fight the dragon. But yeah. After that, you move on to the Bridge Knight, which is like a 200-foot tall knight with a 200-foot tall shield. That was a bit more difficult. I'll talk about why in a second. It was still, I think I beat it on my third attempt, where the first 2 attempts I just got fucked over by the camera. But I'll come back to the camera in a second. But yeah, that wasn't so bad. That was just magic. Throw magic at it. throw magic. Get to it, get on either of its flanks, lock onto its head, and just throw magic at the head, and you dwindle it down. Because it's got a big full coat of armor on you, and it's like you do 6 damage or whatever, and you'd be there all day. But the game itself. What?
Did you not attack the ankles? No.
No, it's true magic at its head. It was much easier than attacking the ankles.
If you attack the ankles, it knocks it down, and then you can attack the head.
Yeah, no, I got that, but it was just so much easier to just throw magic at its head for 10 minutes. That's literally all I did. I just threw magic at it. I refilled my magic power. Threw more magic at it. Refilled my. It was the easiest fight ever. You got to take these advantages when you get them in these kind of games. But yeah, no, the game itself is just it's really beautiful. It's got that whole Souls weirdness to it, where everyone talks like they're possessed, and it's weird. Like Louise walked in, she's like, "What are you playing?" Because I was leveling up at the time. I was like, "Oh, feed me your soul." It's fun. And she was like, "What the fuck are you playing?"
What? No, what's he says? Like,
I can't remember what
touch
he
the
said.
demon inside me or something.
It's touched
You're like,
something
whoa.
inside me. Yeah, it's weird. I had a little bit of a heart attack. The blue guy, the crestfallen knight.
Yeah.
Where he's really depressed, and he's like, and then after he's like, "Who are you? Get away from me!" And then you come back the next time, and he's just dead, and it's like, why is he dead? But no, it's just because I'd finished his dialogue. I know about Lurt, is it?
Okay, yeah.
It's not that, because it's too early in the game for that. I haven't freed him from his cell yet. But it's no, if you the crestfallen knight has a finite dialogue, and when you finish his dialogue, he eventually just dies, and that's that. But and then I killed the dragon with a bow. I sat on top of a tower for an hour, firing bows at this dragon as it swooped down above me. So yeah, I moved on to the next world, where there's a bit of a, I wouldn't say an uptick in difficulty, but stuff has to be hit more times to kill it. But
is this the Shrine Storm, is it? With skeletons?
The second one. No, I haven't gone to the skeletons. Fuck those guys, though. The second one. The mine.
Oh, yeah.
They don't really attack you. They just kind of walk towards you, but they take a couple of hits to kill. But yeah, no, the game, like, I know it's a remake of a PS3 game, but it feels next gen. And you get the from the DualSense controller, you get the feedback from it when you're doing. So when I was firing the bow, for example, it came out the DualSense controller and had that kind of swoosh feeling through it.
Nice.
Which is really cool. And we'll get back to that as well, Stephen, about Returnal. I know you want to talk about it. But yeah, the only issue I have I love Souls games. I love that difficulty. There is that question of would they be worse off if they had an easy mode where people could just experience it? That's a genuine question. Like, I don't think they should, because the market that they have developed and the fan base they have developed want that difficulty in the game.
Yeah.
Would it negatively impact the game if it had an easy mode? Probably not. But I don't think you get the same experience playing that sort of game by playing it on easy difficulty.
Yeah.
Like, the experience of that game is learning the mechanics, learning the attack patterns, learning how the game works, and then improving with it to get better. And get good isn't the right phrase, but it's staying patient with it until you overcome that challenge. And then overcoming that challenge is your reward.
And let's be fair here. The Souls series do not have great stories other than Sekiro. So
I disagree. I disagree in a way that
storytelling.
I disagree in that they don't have great stories. The story isn't front and center. The story's told through the items in the game.
Yeah. Like there's great lore in them.
Yeah, there's great lore. If you're
But
into
like,
it.
if you're,
And it's
the only
fucking
argument
weird
I would
lore.
yeah.
Very
But the only
weird
argument
lore.
I'd have for easy mode would be if there was a campaign like Sekiro where, it was actually very story driven what you're doing and you want to experience that.
I think Sekiro out of all of them would have benefited the most from a more accessible mode.
I think so.
Yeah. But it's if you buy a Souls game or a From Software game, you buy that game knowing that it is that challenging difficulty. That's what they created those games to hit that
It's
market.
like a sub-genre itself.
Yeah, it created its own genre of games. So if you buy a Souls game or a From Software game, you know what you're getting yourself in for. So buying it and then go, no, it's too hard. Why can't I make this easier just to experience it? You bought that game knowing that that's the target audience. So
yeah.
But my opinions aren't facts. The only issue I have with it, and it was an issue with Bloodborne for a lot of people. I only found it on one boss fight in Bloodborne, which was the Cleric Beast. But the camera is so bad in Demon Souls, in my opinion anyway. It's too close. So and maybe it'd be as simple as having an FOV slider in there, just to open it up a bit more. I just find that it can be difficult at times to tell the attack pattern because it's so zoomed in your character. It's kind of hard to see the attack cue of the enemy. So that's the one thing I'd like. Just to be able to pull it back by a meter. Just that, no way in God of War say that it is that over the shoulder camera, but it's a little bit pulled back. I feel like Demon Souls is a little bit tied in.
Okay.
And that's the only thing that kind of annoys me about it. Because I died on the Tower Knight because the camera. Because I just couldn't see what was about to come, and he did that AoE attack, and I was like, oh, that's great. I'm dead. But anyway, no, otherwise, I'm loving it. I'm looking forward to digging myself into it further and getting through it. How many bosses is there? I think there's 17 or 21 or something, isn't it? Somewhere between 17 and 20, I think.
Yeah, there's one in each area anyway.
Yeah,
and each area
because I went up to the top of the Nexus. I went up to the top of the Nexus and was looking at all the records people have, and a lot of people, a lot of people's like fast playthrough was 17 bosses. So I assume there's 17 like main bosses
areas,
and then 4 or 5 kind of side bosses or optional bosses.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, something like that.
Okay. Anyway, it's great. Other than that, if you're into that sort of game and you have a PS5, you get it. It's fantastic.
nice.
Blue Point, I think, did the remake. They did a great job. They really did.
Yeah.
Do Bloodborne. Do Bloodborne. Who said that?
Kind of like a subtitles and all for that.
Do you know the thing is about the only thing like. It's not quite having not played Demon Souls. I expected it to be more Souls combat than it is. It's closer to Bloodborne in some ways than Souls. It's still very similar to Souls, but it's not as stiff.
I find it's very close to the Dark Souls 1.
It's quite close, but I did find that there was the roll is quite effective.
Yeah, maybe they tweaked stuff like that.
Yeah,
to be more in line with Dark Souls 3 and
definitely
Bloodborne rather than the old. Because I remember the old Demon Souls was very slow.
Yeah, very slow. Block. Those skeletons you mentioned are assholes. That roll that they do is annoying as hell. I haven't figured out how to effectively combat the roll yet.
Dodge.
Literally, yeah, but then they roll into you again.
You need to shield and dodge. Yeah, is the best way.
Because the roll kind of breaks your shield. So
yeah,
I'll figure it out. I'm not doing that world yet anyway. I've gone back to the other one. I just went there to get the sword you told me to get, but it doesn't have a prod attack, so I'm not a big fan of it. Anyway, shall we hit the news?
I think we're like, are we 2 hours into it already?
We're getting close. We're getting pretty damn close.
Let's have a light episode this week.
I mean, for once, I didn't do most of the talking.
I know.
I would like to point that out. Dylan, you spoke for 50 minutes by yourself.
Oh, I didn't know I could speak for that long.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I've been doing timestamps. I'm very well. Oh, look at me. There I am. Hi, Kev. Yeah, no, Dylan spoke for a good 45, 50 minutes there. So, yeah, we'll hit the news.
Please.
We've got quite a lot of... No, it was good. I was interested in hearing about 2 games that, one, I've no interest in playing because I'm not into Monster Hunter, and 2, a game that I'm very interested in hearing about but no interest in playing because it's such a time sink. That's the only reason, because it's too much of a time sink for me personally. Because I know it'd be a time sink. I put enough time into Destiny. I couldn't.
It's the fact that you know it has the potential to.
Yeah. I'd have to. If I ever stop playing Destiny, I could definitely get into it.
Yeah.
It's a time sink. And this is the season where I thought I'd get a big break, and I didn't get a break because I've really enjoyed this season. But anyway, we'll hit some of the news. Before we hit the news, we will do a quick cover of the Returnal impression, Stephen, because I know you're dying to.
Yeah, no, just I had zero interest because it's a third-person shooter.
Likewise.
And it doesn't appeal to me at all. And then the review you sent me, and then SkillUp's review, I was like, shit.
Just to clarify, the preview. It's an impression.
Preview.
It's the impressions of the first 2 biomes.
Yeah. So if those impressions hold up as the game opens up and continues through for the campaign, and if it's a decent sized campaign, I could see myself sinking into it then. I
could see myself playing it. I know, Dill, you don't watch anything or a lot of SkillUp stuff, but I would recommend watching his preview of Returnal.
Yeah, I saw posted today. I think it
will sell you on the game.
Yeah,
it looks really good. It's
basically first.
Yeah, well, there's that. There is that. It's a third-person shooter, sci-fi Diablo.
Yeah, and the fact that you harped on the Alien Prometheus universe.
Yeah. It looks. It looks like
Prometheus.
it.
Yeah.
Very. I did steal that from SkillUp. He did the Prometheus Alien thing, but it does look like that. But no, it looks.
Yeah.
I had no interest in it, and I was kind of like, "Oh, this looks quite good."
I meant like Death Stranding with like the art style, like
I get it.
Yeah. But like €80 is a lot of euro for a new IP. It
is, but if the previews translate into reviews of the same caliber, I could definitely. But I thought everything was dying and everything was completely fucked at PlayStation. No, everything's fucking fine and dandy by the sounds of it.
Which is a good segue into the news.
Which is a great segue into the news. I'm gonna have to do that one first, aren't I?
Yeah, and then you're gonna have to find it because it's probably in the middle of all the shit. Sorry, Kev, just thought.
I found it. So there was a new, not a new studio, but a publishing partnership announced today.
Yeah.
With ex-Bungie staff, anyway. Quite a few ex-Bungie staff in there.
Respawn as well.
Yeah. So some Respawn staff. So we had Fireworks Studios, probably Monsters. They are setting out to design a AAA multiplayer title. Josh Hamrick is there, that used to work for Bungie. You've got you've got Mass Effect devs, Apex devs, Call of Duty devs. Like, this is looking promising. Now I saw there was
SoComTree.
There was some people I saw talking on Twitter about this being an arena shooter, but nowhere in here does it say it's a PvP title. It says it's a new original multiplayer game, and they want to create new worlds and inspire more amazing players around the world. Now, for me, that says it's a cooperative multiplayer game.
To me, that just says Destiny.
Yeah.
This could be the Destiny killer.
It could be the Destiny killer. They left Bungie and are now killing that. But yeah, like they talk about playing Diablo here. They talk about competitive Halo tournaments. So I imagine it's gonna be a what you call it?
First person WoW, calling it.
First person WoW. I imagine it's gonna be a it's like
Co-op.
designed like Destiny, where PvE
It's a looter
PvE
shooter.
elements.
Yeah.
It's a looter shooter. Yeah. You're gonna be black screened for a second on the YouTube because I just want to fix something, just to make sure that I actually have audio this whole time. I may not have had it for that one, but I'm gonna make sure I have it
At
for
least
the rest
that was
of
the
them.
one that was talking for 50 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Anyway, I fixed a potential issue just there. So if you didn't hear Kev for the last 2 minutes, at least it was only for 2 minutes and not for the next 5 minutes. Basically, Firewalk Studios, PS exclusive game. It's a multiplayer game. It sounds like it is designed in the same kind of genre of Destiny or Halo, where it's a multiplayer PvE experience with PvP on the side. That's what I gathered from this anyway. Can you guys still see what I'm looking at? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. So I'm going to close this one. I'm going to go to the very start of this. Get wrecked,
The one
all
we
you
talked about.
motherfuckers who said Cyberpunk should be dead and thrown in the bin because CD Projekt Red made massive profits on this game. Whether you think they should have or not is a different story altogether. Basically, Cyberpunk sold extremely well. It shows you right here. This is their annual revenue from 2014. And look, that's like, it's insane. Like, yeah. It sold 13 million copies, was it? I have it here. 13.7 million copies, which over half of them were on PC. So they did all right.
In its first 9 months,
and that's after
Witcher's...
after refunds.
Oh, is it? Okay,
that's
what I was thinking.
after.
I was like, how much of that, like 300 million, is going to Sony?
No, that's after refunds. So.
Oh damn.
I can't find it. I think he replied later on. I don't know, but he says it was like 2 million were refunded. So
that's nothing
still,
in this scheme of what they've earned.
It kind of shows you that a lot of the anger online was just about, it was the same sort of story as usual. It was just people being loud. There was a hell of a lot of people who were just enjoying the damn game despite the obvious issues with it. I'm not hiding from that. The game obviously had issues, but I'm still glad it sold as well as it did because the developers deserved it.
But even that trajectory, like selling 13 million in your first 9 months compared to
9 months in the first month.
Yeah, it's just December.
Oh, the end of 2020. Jesus Christ. Okay, sorry. I thought that was...
Yeah, it's insanity.
Compared to 30 million over The Witcher's lifespan.
Yeah.
Which is what?
Yeah.
Like,
The Witcher had its most success, its second best year. Like, that's crazy.
So nearing half of that in units already.
Well, if you include the ones that they refunded, they would have sold half of it.
I would like to see, though, how it done in the first half of 2021.
Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
I reckon it will hit 20 million copies by the end of 2021. If it relaunches on the PS Store, that is.
Yeah.
If it relaunches on the PS Store, I reckon it'll hit 20 million copies by the end of this year. Because it is on a trajectory to be fixed. And once it goes back up on the PS Store, if it does, which you would hope it does, because fuck me, if it doesn't, I think people will see that it must be good again. I'll go buy it again. Anyway, I'll wrap up the PS Store stuff because I have a couple of PlayStation Actually, I'm not going to do that because that'll throw everything out of sync on me if I do that. Next one up. Xbox Cloud Gaming is gone into beta on Apple phones. So gaming on a Mac is now possible. We don't need to go through all
I have
this.
very little opinion on that. Like, it's
I don't need to go through all that, but yeah, it's been on Android phones for a while. Apple were playing hardball, so Xbox circumvented them completely. Next up, after a lot of anger,
noise.
a lot of anger, people were rightfully annoyed that you wouldn't be able to buy games on the PS3 and PS Vita stores anymore. Sony backtracked, so that's good job, Sony, and good job to the people who complained as hell.
It's amazing that it got heard as well as it did.
Yeah.
Like, considering, personally, I wouldn't have thought that the PS Vita would have had a massive player base.
Imagine owning a Vita.
But just to warrant an actual turnaround on Sony's behalf, you know.
Imagine PS Vita gets like a reboot now and becomes the highest selling.
It's just a budget Switch.
Handheld console.
Yeah.
I would
bet you they don't have stick drift.
I wouldn't even put it in the same category as a Switch, even as a joke. It's They launched it and it had a couple of good games, and they just let it die. Really,
I really like my Vita.
I like my Vita. I've just played it for about 4 hours, and that's it.
I just didn't like them because they never released like full titles. It was always like a side kind of project.
However, if they launch PlayStation Now, that's playable well on the Vita. You can play God of War on the go. Hire me, Sony.
Game Pass on the Vita. Let's go.
Yeah, why not? There we go. Xbox Game Pass on the Vita.
Actually, I'm gonna look up to see. Can you?
I was gonna say, surely that's being cracked by now.
I'm sure it has. Next up, reportedly there is a Knights of the Old Republic remake coming. I haven't played Knights of the Old Republic because it's 18 years old.
Old as fuck.
And yeah, but this is coming, I think, from Jason Schreier. So it's got to be true.
I heard about this for a while, though.
That's what I was going to say.
Like a year or two ago.
That it's been in progress for an extended period of time, and it's just being kept under wraps, and that it's not just being spoken about now.
Yeah. No, they're like,
hopefully it makes an appearance at hopefully it makes an appearance at E3.
Yes. Yeah, that game's gonna be huge. They'll sell 13 million in the first day.
Oh yeah, it's Star Wars as well. A good Star Wars game.
Yeah.
You couldn't give it away. Or you could.
Very nice.
You couldn't give it away because people will be buying it.
I'll buy it.
Next one up.
I won't have a PS5.
New Battlefield game is announced. Battlefield 5. They're hyping the shit out of it. It's coming later this year, apparently.
They took a gap, didn't they?
They did take a gap year, yeah. They also announced the mobile Battlefield game, but no one cares. So yeah, they said they will be revealing that soon, TM. So I don't think that'll quite be E3 when they reveal that. I imagine it'll be revealed before then with a deep dive at E3.
Like, surely if it's only been announced now, it's not going to be a November, like Q4 window 2021. That's when
it's going to be, yeah. That's when they're saying. Later in 2021.
Yeah.
So I imagine it'll be out again to rival. Yeah, this holiday season.
Yeah. So it'll be back to its regularly scheduled release then.
Taking on COD. Next up, some of your old games are getting an FPS boost if you have an Xbox Series X or S.
No.
Xbox Series X, so it's just FPS boost. Means you can play all these games from EA. They are EA games, by the way. Can be played at 120 frames a second, which is nice.
I mean, Plants vs. Zombies going from 30 FPS to 120.
Never mind that. Look at down here. You got Battlefront 2. You got Titanfall 2.
Yeah. Battlefront 2, yeah. I can imagine that.
You got Fallout 76.
Still has a good player base.
I really wish they pushed that. I really wish they pushed that to 76 hertz. That'd be great. Just for the memes. But yeah, no, that's good if you own a Series X or a Series S.
Yeah.
If you own a PC, like us civilized folk, you can do all this anyway. Next up, we had the TWAB, which was mixed.
I don't want to talk about that personally.
That's fine. That's fine.
I just don't want to get tilted because I will.
Yeah, I understand
that. If you guys want to talk about that?
I saw your tweet.
We will. So we already spoke about this part here about the weapons, new season, new Nightfall weapons, which is great. Transmog for appearance is coming, which it's great that it's coming, but the way they've launched it isn't great. Go read the TWAB because we don't want to get salty about it. Basically, they fucked up. I can see them reverting this fairly quickly and
pulling an ESL.
Yeah, I don't know how they'll do it, but they'll change something. They have to. Steven, do you want to say anything on that?
Nope.
Okay, moving on. If you don't own Horizon Zero Dawn, go get it. It's free on the PlayStation Store. Actually, this is moving away from news. This is moving into what's free and what's releasing. So
it's Kev's Thursday segment.
So free shit, lots of free shit. Horizon Zero Dawn is included in the play at home stuff. So
they have that, don't they?
You probably do. So they gave away 10 indie games, I think. It was 10 indie titles, Abzu, that sort of stuff. They gave them all away for free up until April 19th. It has now changed over to Horizon Zero Dawn, which is perfectly timed with Horizon Zero 2, whatever it's called. Forbidden West coming out.
Forbidden West.
That's coming out hopefully later this year, probably next year. But it's free on the PlayStation Store. If you don't own
the FPS update though.
No, so I'll play it on PC if I play it.
You'd have to go to war.
If you don't own a PlayStation, just go onto the PlayStation website, make an account, and add this to your collection, just in case you ever buy one.
Yep.
Also free this week, we've got on the Epic Game Store, we've got Alien Isolation, which was very cheap on Steam not too long ago.
It was like €1 or €3.
It was like €1, yeah.
Yeah.
We got Alien Isolation, which is terrifying but excellent, and a game called Hand of Fate 2. I don't know what that's about, but Chaotix was very excited when he saw it.
And as Kev says, it's free. Why not?
It's free. Moving on from that, new releases. Steven already spoke about Nier Replicant coming out in just under 2.5 hours, if you're on console. I haven't played Nier, even though Steven bought it for me. I apologize. But that's out tomorrow, so go play it if you like that sort of thing.
It's near its release.
It's near its release. Yeah.
Boo.
We're not going to be able to replicate that joke, Dill.
Oh, motherfuckers.
Oh, double entendre. Let's go.
Hey. Next up is the final DLC for... It's giving me a video. That's amazing. It's the final DLC for Immortals Phoenix Rising.
If this is one game I recommend for your Switch, Kev, it's this.
I'd rather get it on PlayStation if I was getting it for anything.
Get it on PlayStation. It's awesome.
Or on Epic.
If there's one game I'd recommend getting, full stop.
Yeah, I will. I will pick this up. I will definitely pick this up.
Like, this is only out since November.
December. Yeah.
And it already has 4 DLCs for it.
Mm-hmm.
And by looking at them, they are not just your hit and miss. They are great storytellers.
Brand new
all
stories,
different regions
brand new
as
areas,
well.
yeah. And the new one, Lost Gods, it completely changes the experience. It's a top-down exploration and brawler style combat.
I noticed that with the video, yeah.
Which is an interesting take on completely changing up what you did with the rest of your game. But
now, see, you are playing it as a different character as well.
You are.
So that they could revert that if the reception isn't great.
I don't think they will. It's a DLC. I think they'll just leave it as it is. Look at me turning off the share screen before going back to the main one. I did it right this week. But yeah, that's the news. That's the free shit, and that's what's out. Next week, Dill's favorite title of the year is coming out. I was gonna include it this week, but I'm keeping it for next week to make him salty. Then
What's my favorite title of the year?
Snap. Anyway,
so cool though, which they brought out in like line with that, which was the Nintendo Switch kind of Insta Pics thing.
That. Yeah,
it is pretty cool for like your screenshots and stuff. Like, for example, I was explaining to Kathy, and her sister recently got Animal Crossing, and she visited our island, and they had like a little fucking photo shoot and like in different areas and stuff. So to be able to like screenshot and print that out and stuff like that, I think that's really cool.
It is.
Dale, don't lie. They were making an OnlyFans to pay back for the house to Tom Nook.
Anyway,
I won't tell you how much
I've got
these fucking Animal Crossing bank account.
Don't want to know. Anyway, I've got nothing else this week. unless you guys have anything else you want to bring up quickly.
No, I think we covered all aspects. I've spoken plenty for everybody, I think.
As always, I will. You have this week. You've taken over. I'll link all of the news articles in the description down below. I'll also link in the link to SkillUp's preview of Returnal in case people are interested in watching that. However, if you can't find SkillUp on YouTube, you're doing something wrong. You're on the wrong website. Hard to misspell. He's not on Pornhub. That I know of.
Type in SkillUp and you'll find him easily.
Actually, just speaking of that, did you see this week Sam had Thick Boy on Layman talking about Mortal Kombat, and afterwards he put out a poll asking do people want to see more of Thick Boy, and it's that like 95% yes. So we might be getting two brothers back on the casting couch. So I'm looking. It's just so much better. It's just so much better because they have that. They bounce off each other so well, and it's not just SkillUp's better. I want SkillUp back on Layman. It's not that. He could literally have anybody. It's just having the two people. They bounce off each other very well. Whereas Ralph is better. Is very good at reviewing, very good at giving you an opinion piece. Whereas Sam's better to bounce off people. So hopefully they do that.
We need to take Kev to Australia just to fucking.
No, we don't need to go to Australia. That place.
Kev will go. No.
That place is scary in Australia.
Best 2 seconds. Of your
I'd
life.
rather just keep going. Go to New Zealand. It's a bit safer.
Yeah.
Everything wants to kill
bring
you
them
there.
over here. Yeah. It's an island designed to kill you. Fuck that.
It really is.
Yeah. It was
anyway, I've nothing else to say this week. I have nothing else to say this week. We thought it was going to be quick, but Dill ruined that. But I'm not mad because I like long podcasts, because I like chatting with people. It's fun.
Yeah.
So
and
if you
Dill can't give out to us because it's his
no, he's done it.
It was.
I'm free.
Yeah.
I didn't show off anything this week apart from Chunky Pikachu. Fat
I
shaming
just
Pikachu.
ate my words. I can't say anything. Yeah.
I've
become.
Sorry, go on. You've become me.
I've become the long podcast.
The thing you hate. Yeah.
The thing you hate. Anyway, before we wrap up completely, we are doing something different in a couple of weeks. We are going normal stuff next week. We're gonna have a topic again next week on something, our favorite shade of blue. I don't know. But the following week we're gonna have played through a game. We're going to talk about that game, give our impressions on that game. And we're going to start with something that's kind of in the spotlight at the moment with the new Apex season, which we never touched on, Dill. I'm sorry. It looks great. They're doing arenas, 3v3, new character, excellent new hero. But we're going to play through Titanfall 2, and we're going to talk about it together and see what we thought of Titanfall 2. And we're going to start doing that every maybe 2 or 3 weeks, maybe once a month. We're going to choose a game that all of us are going to play, and then we will talk about that game and give you our impressions of it. So really I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And really Titanfall 2 is where we're starting because it's kind of on short notice. We've decided that we're going to do this because we're very professional, and Titanfall 2's campaign is it's compact. It's not too long. It's only about 8 to 10 hours long. So looking forward to that. Anyway, I'm going to shut my mouth. Peace out. Thanks for listening. Love you lots. Bye.
Yep, thanks for tuning in. Listen to us next week, or listen to us next week.
I'd hope so. You know
I
where to
apologize for keeping you for 50 minutes of the start of that. I can't believe I spoke for that long on one thing.
One of you guys got to sign off. It's not my job.
Thanks again for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. And see you again. Bye.
Bye.